On this morning of November 13th, I am on the ancient Appian Way, headed towards the mausoleum of Cecilia Metella. Notice the famously straight course of this road, which continues in a straight manner for another 400 plus miles. Boundless history on this road. And I shall get a taste of it today. I'm now approaching the mausoleum of Cecilia Metella, or Cecilia Metella, here on the ancient Appian Way. Oh, so much history on this road. I can almost see the bodies of the crucified slaves lined up on either side of the road, for example. This road was begun in 312 BC. If these stones could only speak, what would they say? This Appian Way is beautiful. Already some Christmas decorations are appearing. There are some beautiful private residences here. This appears to be one of them, possibly. something I'll remember from Rome for sure are the umbrella pines. I can't resist. I must have footage of myself walking along the ancient Appian Way. I'm on my way to the catacombs. That's one of the glorious private residences I was talking about. I'm continuing my stroll along the Appian Way. I've taken this detour into the compound of Maxentius, which includes his circus, his mausoleum, his palace. He picked a great spot, that's for sure. As I look out on the circus of Maxentius, I try to imagine the roar of the crowd as the chariots sped by. The betters. The mothers here watching their sons in the chariots. The fathers rooting them on. Every variety of human virtue and foibles on display here. I think it's important not to condemn the ancient Romans either as primitives or to idealize them. They were simply human beings, subject to all the heights and all the depths of human beings today. Neither inferior to us nor superior, though I'm tempted to say they were superior in nobility. All right, I'm going to leave the compound of Maxentius and continue my way towards the city center on the ancient Appian Way. Why do I suspect the ancient Romans may have been superior to us today? Well, for one thing, they were a highly religious people. Could it have been that search for the heights, that disposition towards the heights, that disposed them to receive Christ? And we compare that with the squalid souls of today, listening to their ghetto music, wearing their ridiculous tracksuits, basically satisfied with a sewer existence. And are we superior? Do we have the audacity to say that modern humans are superior to the ancient Romans? I don't. But they were bloodthirsty. They led to gladiatorial contests and feeding people to lions. We're far superior. We're enlightened. We believe in equality, etc., etc., etc. We're just as bloodthirsty as they were. Are you kidding me? The last century alone was the bloodiest in all of history. And we like our blood sports today, our NFL and all the rest of it. Our legalized abortion, that holocaust of legalized fetal infanticide so that we can preserve our freedom and attain equality. Ha! Oh, but this technology, this thing you're talking into right now proves our superiority. No. No, this technology has allowed us to become more isolated, more alienated, more disconnected from reality than ever before. It's a blessing, but it's also a curse. As I continue on the Appian Way. Alright, I'm going to turn off this wretched machine while I visit my brothers and sisters underground. I've just left the catacombs of St. Sebastian and am on a pedestrian path next to the Appian Way, heading towards the city. This part of the Appian Way has a lot of traffic, and so, according to my guide, it's best to take this path. My demeanor within the catacombs of St. Sebastian was quite subdued. In contrast with my English-speaking group, you have to go with the group, and I went with the English-speaking guide. In contrast to much of those in my group who were full of laughter, chuckles, and dressed like bums in their tennis shoes and their jeans and their ridiculous tank tops and t-shirts and oh, how debased we've become. Such poverty of spirit. I'm sure I appeared to them to be a total crank, as I wasn't participating in their talk, their endless talk, their chatter within the catacombs, their laughter, their giggling. In other words, their behavior that was totally unfitting for a burial place, especially one of such historic proportions. But I keep telling myself they know not what they do. And that's the truth. Father, forgive them, they know not what they do. Oh my God, forgive me and my Pharisaical spirit. But is it Pharisaical? Am I not right to be concerned with that kind of behavior, with the kind of debasement, the depravity, the vulgarity that suffuses our souls today? And then I think, well, you are right, but not to the extent that it causes you this toxic rage. Not to the extent that it disturbs your soul, your peace. Because the devil loves a disturbed soul. As St. Francis de Sales wrote, the devil fishes in troubled waters. I think that's the answer, yes. Reject the breakdown. But don't let it toxify your soul. Replace the anger with understanding. That they truly do not know what they're doing. For example, laughing in the catacombs. If they knew what they were doing, they wouldn't do it. That has to be the attitude. That's the attitude of charity. Not of bile and of condemnation. It has to be the attitude, if only for your own soul. If only to keep you out of this state of rage. I remember one of the maxims of St. Alphonsus Liguori in his book, Prayer, the Great Means of Salvation. And he says, just imagine that you and God are the only beings on earth. In other words, don't let the doings of others distract you. From your ascent. While at the same time, of course, praying for those who know not what they do. And not praying in a pharisaical manner, but truly praying that the grace of God may be poured out upon them and their eyes open to the glory. It doesn't matter where you are. It could be a nice area, it could be a dump, but you're going to see graffiti. And even in nice areas like where I'm staying, there's a trash problem. Of course, part of this is big city stuff, but still. I would be worried if I saw this developing seriously where I live. I think that Rome has a very long tradition of graffiti. In other words, thousands of years of it. And trash as well. It seems to be a Latin thing. As the Videre essay says, Latinos litter. And they seem to love graffiti as well. But I think in a place without a very long tradition of this, it would be worrisome. I can understand trash overflow. I'd want to do something about that, but if I were a resident of Rome, and perhaps this is the Anglo-Saxon in me talking, I would definitely want to do something about this graffiti. I would join the local anti-graffiti committee, or start it up or something. Because I hate graffiti. And again, we're talking in the nicest of areas. I'm in a very nice area here. I'm up near the Janiculum Hill. There's where I'm staying. That's my building. This is some of the graffiti at the Quattro Venti subway stop, which is closest to where I'm staying. Who are the idiots who write this graffiti? I'd like to see them. I never actually see anyone doing it. But I would like to see who exactly are the morons who do this stuff. Alright, here comes my train. Well, this is an interesting contrast to some of the anarchist and communist graffiti I've been seeing. On this evening of November 13th, I'm next to the Vatican. I don't know if the camera's picking up the walls. Oh, the walls. In any event, as I was walking by, I caught this. I can understand pieces of it, but I'll put it all through the translator later. My sense is that it's a lot of conciliarist nonsense mixed with truth. Wherever Paul VI is celebrated, I'm certain that conciliarist nonsense is present. It doesn't take a genius to figure that out.
Humanita incoming, no?
As I continue walking around the Vatican area on this night of November 13th, I think I might find a breach in this evil wall soon. I'm just north of the Vatican. I'm actually coming from a bookstore I found about 10 days ago. Tremendous bookstore with books to be found nowhere else, because I think it's a fascist bookstore. They've got a lot of Julius Evola or Evola and so forth and so on. It's called Libreria Europa. Remember that, Libreria Europa. It might be burned down by the next time I visit, but maybe not. Okay, I think I'm coming to the breach in the evil wall. Oh no! Oh, it continues. Yes, because of Muslims, the city has been militarized. Soldiers with machine guns are to be seen. At key tourist spots. All right. Oh, I think I see the opening in the evil wall. I see some arches. Oh, yes. Those were some of the Swiss guards in their night uniforms, apparently. And yes, I am approaching a breach in this evil wall. Let's see what's going on in St. Peter's Square right now. It's about 7:15. On a Tuesday evening. This is my first vision of St. Peter's by night close up. I've seen it off in the distance many times by now, but I actually haven't been here at night yet. Fluorescent lighting.
Oh, it must be more energy efficient. It's probably not fluorescent. It's LED. In any event, it's wretched.
Oh Lord, why must I always see the dark side? Get this demon off of my shoulder. I wonder where exactly it was that the lightning struck the dome of St. Peter's on the day that Francis was selected. I'd like to find out exactly where that was. here at the rooftop terrace at the Hotel Indigo, Rome, St. George at Via Giulia 62. That is St. Peter's. Castel Sant'Angelo. I expect it's much more lively at other times of the year. This is some place to remember if I come back with a lady friend. I feel like a beeping Tom up here. I'm walking down the Via Giulia and I'm in front of this church. And I saw this sign. This is on the facade of the church. I can't translate it all. I'll try that later, but what I can get now is the poor, dead, or death, che si pigliano, who, I'm not sure, in Campania, in the country, in the land, 1694. So did the angel of death visit the city and strike down the poor in 1694 by plague, or who knows? I will find out. I'm continuing this odyssey of a walk on this night of November 13th, Tuesday. It's got to be over 3 miles by now. And I'm now in front of St. Crisogono Church. Eucharistic adoration, prayer, charismatic prayer, and Holy Rosary of praise for peace in the world. We are waiting for you. Oh, the Protestant infection. Charismatic prayer. The Pentecostal infection continues. Part of the wretched, poisonous fruit of Vatican II. By the way, that's how Bolsonaro won the I'm glad he won the election in Brazil, but it was because of the Pentecostal vote. Apparently, Brazil is going radically Pentecostal. Something will fill the vacuum. If the church renounces its mission, then the likes of Pentecostalism will fill the void.